Welcome to the Manufacturing Shakeup. We're your hosts, Ellen Feldman-Ornato
and Jenny Drescher. We're talking with dynamic women from across the manufacturing scene in Connecticut. Hello there, friends. Have you ever wondered to yourself, do I fit in here? How do I know if I fit? What do I do? Do I listen for an inner voice? Do I listen for an outer voice? Is somebody going to come along and tell me if I fit? What the heck am I doing anyway? Well, our guest today is a very special lady, Mia Merrel from ASSA ABLOY. Welcome to the Shakeup.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So one of the things that I love about your story was that you are kind of a self-made woman in the sense that you've had some career adventures, but one of the things you've done so beautifully is to really find your own fit and truly create it and co-create it with your environment. Can you tell us how you have achieved this wonderful thing?
Yeah, I think for me, it's that I'm just never afraid to kind of ask for help, right? I think a lot of us so often get kind of scared that, oh, it feels like I don't know what I'm doing, imposter syndrome, that kind of stuff, right? And when I came into product management, which is what I do now, it was a brand new area for me in my career. And, after a few months, I was struggling a lot to kind of figure out my way. And so I went to one of our senior leaders within the organization and I said, hey, I know you used to be a product manager. Can you help me? And he was so generous, and he actually connected me with one of his employees and as a mentorship relationship. And it really helped me kind of build my foundation here. And so that's kind of, how I just don't like to sit around and rest on my laurels if I don't know how to get something done. I will take charge, I guess, and figure out who can help me.
I didn't have the impression that you were doing any laurel sitting of any kind. I'm curious, so many of our listeners are people who are moving from one area of manufacturing to the next area of manufacturing, and they're trying on these different ways of, am I good at this? Am I good at product part? Am I good at the innovation part? What were some of the things that you encountered along your journey to, before you started asking for help? What did you notice in yourself that you were then able to amplify and follow as cues? Like, what were some of the inner cues that helped you to, I don't know, like the breadcrumbs?
Yeah. I think it's number one, working within an organization that I feel they invest in the employees, right? So I felt secure here that if I am unsure of something, that I am not going to be chastised or punished for kind of raising the flag, right? And I think, it's figuring out kind of where are my strengths, but also where, like, knowing that this is an area that I need to develop. And just not being afraid to ask questions. I would ask of my colleagues, and if they couldn't help me, if they were busy, right, I'd kind of go to the next step. Where can I find the next step? And then it really, for me, at least in this journey, got to a point where I didn't have any other steps to go, right? So I really needed to reach out for that kind of mentorship and like senior leadership assistance. And so that's where it led me.
Have you always been someone who self-advocates? Is that just sort of how you're wired? Because that's what I'm hearing is you taking it for yourself or following your curiosity and not being afraid to ask questions.
Yeah, I have found in the past roles here too, I'm always kind of looking for a passion project that's outside of my area that I'm focused on at the time, right? So whether it's having something that gets you energized for the day, or learning, right? We should never stop learning. We should always be exploring our world around us, and that can mean many different things. But in work, it was how can I kind of leap into sustainability with, I started a safety glass recycling program within our manufacturing facility, or where can I help out? Where can I be an asset for the company? Where can my skills be used elsewhere?
Yeah. And that led you to a creative project, right? That you saw a need and filled it. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yep. So during the pandemic, we were all sitting at home, still doing our day jobs. But we had, a lot of conversations about various things. And so in the fall of 2020, I started a podcast for our sales team, kind of reading some of the PDF media that we would send out to them to give them kind of an alternate form of to consume the
Mm,
various announcements and product launches and things, because when they were back on the road, you know people like to consume information in different ways, so how can we
yeah.
give them an alternate form? But that, we obviously we weren't still back on the road at that time. So we pivoted a little bit kind of more into the social media and public arena. And I started a video series called A Minute with Mia. And it was, hey, I'm your friendly neighborhood product manager. I'm here to kind of give you a minute or two overview of some things, maybe a frequently asked question that our tech support gets. Or, hey, how would you find, if you were looking for installation instructions on our website? Like, here's an easy way to find it. And so from there, that continued to evolve into a YouTube channel that we have now called Door Hardware Nerds. And it's really a community that we have within the door opening industry. It's an interesting industry. Hopefully, none of you really ever think of us because as you walk through doors in your day, they're just working. And then why would you think of us? That's exactly what we want to happen.
Hello, we make this product that we never want you to think about.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right. Other people think about it. So let's serve the people who do think about it in a way that works for them.
right.
That's very novel for any of us who are really not instruction readers. I don't know how many people listening right now get instructions and set them aside and try and figure it out by themselves. But it's great that you offer it in so many different media so that people can consume it the way they want and like back it up and listen to it again.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
The other thing that jumps out at me about there's so much about this little passion project that is important for our listeners. One of the things that jumps out at me is the fact that you started the Minute and Mia when you were separated as a team, right? So the pandemic was really a catalyst for I'm a little bored, but there's also a problem, and we're separated. And so across the board, this one simple passion project sounds like it got birthed from multiple needs, and now you turned it into something that is a consistent bright light shining inside your organization. And I really have to wonder how much people must absolutely love that inside ASSA ABLOY. I mean, it's still alive because people like it, clearly.
Yeah, it's so funny anytime I meet people, or like we had a new acquisition come in last year, and I'm at meetings with them face to face, and it's funny because like sometimes that's one of the first introductions to the company, right? Is seeing Door Hardware Nerds and seeing me, and so often people think, oh, like she's the social media person, but actually I help lead product strategy within the organization. So I show up at council meetings and people are like, oh, like she has a serious job here too. It's not just
she's a real person.
yeah. So it's kind of a fun, but it's nice because people know that I'm going to have a conversation with them, and I'm kind of like an easy, person for them to approach when we're at these kind of meetings.
Question for you. I mean, clearly you had leadership support to create the Minutes with Mia and then to take it to video and then to take it to a YouTube channel. Yeah. How has that support that you've gotten from your senior leaders informed how you now lead others?
I think I've kind of always been a collaborative person in general, even before leadership. And so I like to listen to ideas, right? It's the fresh eyes that are going to get us those next innovative ideas, whether it's through social media and outreach in that way, or whether it's through products. So I like to listen to what people have to say. I ask them regularly, especially about the channel. And probably, as you know, it's hard to develop shows. So I'm always like, hey, if you have an idea, please come see me. I want to hear from you, because it's hard doing it all by yourself. And so you want input in all aspects.
Yeah.
And it's funny, too, because we opened this episode today with this question about where do you fit? And what's cool about your project is that not only did you follow a need and find a way to create mutual value between what you're doing and what the company needs and what the sales force needed at the time, but you've also literally shaped and crafted a fit that aligns beautifully with your talents. And I think that sometimes is a thing that people don't necessarily think of when they think about manufacturing, right?
Yeah.
Wait, I could shape something that would align really well with what I'm great at, and I could shine at it, and I could have that kind of role. What would you think? Like, if you had somebody that was working in, say, a junior position, maybe they're new in manufacturing, what advice would you give them about uncovering a fashion product? I'm saying that because of their fashion police on the doorknobs, but a passion project. What would you give them for advice on playing with that idea?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely tell them to observe, right? I know often when you're kind of newer or junior in a company, you want to do a good job and you want to show that you are good at your job, and that's fantastic. But also, take a step back, look around at things that are happening outside of your silo. And if it's something that you're interested in exploring, number one, talk to your manager. But number two, it's okay to ask questions of people that are doing those things that you are interested in. I know here, we have added in the past couple of years to our core value evolution through people. So that's one of now our core values. And so here, like, we're always open for those conversations. And I think most places they want to foster, right? It's so much easier to grow the people that are already within your organization rather than bring in new people all the time for every role. So there's usually an appetite, and I have to speak generally, right? But there's usually an appetite for those types of conversations. If you have an idea for a project that you want to start, I would say kind of get your justification together and present that. I've done that early on with smaller projects. Like, here is the problem that I see. Here is the way that we can change it that will add value. Here might be a monetary value associated with it. And then present that up. And if you're presenting, the facts, it's hard to say no.
Folks, what I just heard Mia talk about is something that we hear over and over again, and it's worth repeating, which is, don't come to me with problems, come to me with solutions. You notice a problem, think through, why is it a problem? What's it impacting? How do we get to a next solution? Maybe come up with a couple ideas. And what I love about the other piece that you said was, let's monetize it. Let's figure out maybe what it's costing us and what we might do to change that, because then you get to be perceived as the person who's proactive and is bringing change constantly in the organization and really thinking futuristically about what could be changed. That's phenomenal.
Yeah. Phenomenal. And I think, a lot of the times we get stuck in our day-to-days and we go, oh, that's not my problem. But I've always taken a no problem is too small, right? Because it's those little ones that really eat at an organization and really start to bother everybody. And then it bubbles up and then it gets bigger. And for me, I always say I'm here for the same amount of hours every day, whether I'm ordering lunch or whether I'm working on strategy. So, like, if I need to organize a meeting and order lunch to get everybody together to collaborate on something, that's my job. Like, that's my job for right now, because I need to foster that. So.
The other thing I hear inside the way you're thinking about this and talking about this, and I love that this is the attitude and the value that's being expressed at ASSA ABLOY, is this evolution through people. So that's another one. I will echo what Ellen just said around, listen up, folks out there who are in leadership roles or want to be in leadership roles, which is how much easier it is to grow the people you have than it is to continually manage churn. It is one of we know across our wonderful, mighty state of Connecticut that that's an issue. Across industries, across the country, turnover is always a business issue. But I think that it bears repeating that it is really through growing people and investing and helping them evolve that we as companies get to evolve as well. And that's a powerful message. I'm glad you all are walking that talk and leading the way to help other manufacturers do that.
Yeah, we regularly have town halls, and at the end they post like, "Hey, here are some open positions." Our top leader will say, "Come to me if you're interested in any of these or if you have questions." Like they really want development within the organization. And that I think if you've seen most of our senior leadership movement lately, it has been people within the organization moving up. And so they really are, it really is a core value for us here. They really want to put the development time in. We're developing all these courses and things internally as well to kind of foster that too. So it's not just saying it and promoting, right? It's teaching, it's exposing people to the other silos within the organization to make them less siloed. So
I love that. And, one of the things that we talked about when we did the pre-interview was you talked about the fact that part of the way that you developed your ability to manage others and to manage a team was you were also intentionally avoiding some behaviors that did not work for you. And I think it's worth just saying out loud, what are some of the behaviors that you might have seen in your earlier career that you said, when I'm managing other people, I won't do this? Yeah. Like, what are some of those things?
Yeah, I don't like to dictate, right? Because it's so hard to get motivation together if you're just like, this is the thing we have to do, right? So I like to, I'm still clear, right? We have an objective. We need to meet the objective. It needs to be done by this time. Like, how would you like to approach it? Do you have any feedback about this? Do you have questions? Is everything clear that, of what I've explained? I want us to all get there together. And my team knows, like, I will jump in with them on any issue that they're having. My schedule is like scheduled to with an inch of its life, but I'm always an open door. So if you need me, if you're having an issue, I will stop everything that I'm doing to get in the weeds with you. Like, I don't want anybody to feel alone. And that happened to me a little bit earlier in my career, coming into different roles. Sometimes leaders have moved on kind of as I've come up. And so I've needed to find that. And I don't like to leave anybody like that. So I'm very clear. If you need me, I will be here. I'm not just sitting here waiting. But like, I'm not a mind reader. So if you need me, like, please come, we will figure this out together. I don't want anybody to feel that they're an island and they don't have anybody to support.
So inclusion and clarity and openness and availability with your people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent.
Well, Mia Merrel, we are winding down on our time today. If you've ever listened to the Shake Up, you'll know that we have our Shake Up factors that we like to tie up at the end of every single episode. So today's Shake Up factors, my friends, are 1, ask for help. Doesn't matter where you are or what role you're in. This is one of the things that every human on the planet needs to get better at, particularly in American business culture. We are terrible at that. So asking for help, learning to ask, is one of the most powerful skills that anybody can develop. It will serve you across your life and across your career. Shake-up factor number 2 is to look for a passion project. Look for something, maybe that lights you up, maybe something you're curious about. Step back, observe, build that case for the passion project and see what happens. See just what kind of magic unfolds if you even start with the idea of the passion project. And the third thing that I heard that really is super subtle is about these little things. We like to call this, Ellen often calls this death by 1,000 paper cuts. But what I like about the way you're looking at this many little things perspective is that you can build with 1,000 tiny moves and 1,000 tiny stones instead of having us all be doing death by paper cut. So, building with 1,000 tiny moves and tiny stones, popsicle sticks, maybe that's fun. Popsicle sticks. So friends, I want you to go out into the world, try on one of these ideas, go put it into action. That's how we shake up manufacturing in our small but mighty state. Go try something on, post it back to us on social media. Let us know. Say, hey, I found a passion project. Here's what it looks like. We want to know what you're up to out in the field. So bring it on back. Mia Merrel of ASSA ABLOY, thank you for spending time with us today. We appreciate you.
Oh my gosh, it was my pleasure. Thank you so much.